All right, Sam, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Appreciate you making the time today. Let's do it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of From Experience. Super excited to share with you today. Wow, Sam, when we first connected, I actually love your story. I think that, I meet a lot of people and sometimes there's, not a lot under the surface, right? Like something powerful, something that really moves them. And I love your story so much. I really think that you should share more of it with people. You probably do. Um, the purpose of this podcast is there's only two ways to get experience. We either have to go through it ourselves or we're lucky enough to learn from other people's experiences, right? You don't have to put your hand in the fire to figure out it's hot. Sometimes we do that after the fact, though. I've definitely done that where it's like, I knew I shouldn't have done that. And then I did it anyway, right? But Samantha, thank you so much for making time today. Guys, we have Samantha Boyd. She is the co-team leader of the Anu Collective with LPT Realty. Sam, I know that you guys, the team is like less than a year old, right?
Yeah, we just got started in July of 25.
July of 25. Okay, so less than a year. And new company as well, right? You guys, the kind of a transition between real estate companies, right?
Yep, a new brokerage, a new team, a new start to everything that I've been doing for the last 10 years. Gosh.
10 years. That you mentioned that earlier and I was like, wow, you look so young. Like, do people card you all the time and do you get that comment? Is that like cliche at this point? Everybody's always like,
The key to still being young in real estate is getting your real estate license at 21. There's a lot of confidence that comes from I sold my first home when I was 21 years old to people more than double my age. If I could do that, imagine what I can do 10 years from now. And it's definitely paid off.
I have noticed that when it comes to networking, because I even got my start in the real estate mortgage world doing title insurance. I was 22, 23. Basically just cut my teeth like cold calling on real estate offices and lending offices and getting rejected
Yeah.
all the time. And
Yeah.
so I basically learned through that, right? Networking, and I have like no shame. So good or for better or for worse. Sam, I'd love to share with me a little bit more, I guess, about the Anu Collective and your co-team leader, right? Their name, and then it's brand new year. It's beginning of 2026, right? This is the first new video, right? I'm doing with the From Experience podcast. What coming out of last year, you and your co-team leader, what'd you guys learn from, and what's some of the direction, right? Where's the flag planted for 2026?
Well, we're going to need about 3 hours to really dig into it, but I'll give you the Cliff Note version. So Sean is my partner. We founded a new collective July 4th. I'm claiming as our birthday 2025 because it'll be easy to remember in the years to come, and we've got a lot to celebrate. We started off with 6 agents and really decided to move companies, decided to start a new team out of a need for transparency, wanting to create a safe place for agents to land, but also a model that was going to be sustainable. So prior to a new collective and LPT, I was running a team under a huge mega team in Florida. And I was doing that for about 5 years. So, pieces fell where they may. I knew that it was time to get a fresh start and I wanted to make sure that I was building something sustainable. Sean is one of my best friends. We work very well together. And so partnering up with him was a no brainer. Since July of 25, we've gone from 6 agents to just under 50 starting off the new year. I think that we're going to more than double our agent count probably by the end of Q1, but I don't want to jinx anything. And we'll probably be expanded into several other states by the end of the year as well.
Okay, getting out of Florida. All right. I love that. I love that. So kind of a little bit of one of my favorite cheesy questions to ask people. Most of us don't grow up, right, dreaming about being loan officers or real estate agents. What did you want to be when you were younger? Like what was something that inspired you, and what was kind of the dream maybe when you were a lot younger?
That's a really hard question for me. I thought about it a lot. And I think, coming off the new year, it's a really great time for reflection. And so I've been doing exactly that. I don't know that I had a specific, like, oh, this is what I want to do, dream position, or I didn't see myself on Wall Street. Really, what I wanted was to be able to not only support myself and my family that I was building moving forward, but my family that I've had to support since I was really young. It was about finding stability and creating that for myself and for the people that I love, because I knew that it was lacking in a lot of my own life and in theirs as well. From a young age, I've I've been a leader of my family. I've taken care of my siblings, even in adulthood. All three of them have lived with me on and off or been financially helped out in some way. And that's not a brag on myself. That's just like, those are my responsibilities. And that's what I was building a future for. And so I fell into real estate and I made it absolutely work. And I fell in love with real estate. So it's worked out. But yeah, that's kind of what happened.
That's what happened. Let's go back a little bit further because I love your story, right? So as vulnerable as you're willing to share with me, I think that the human connection in this, right? Like because mortgage, real estate, title insurance, like a lot of consumers, right? Let's be honest, they don't exactly know how all those things function. If you're a first time homebuyer, you've never actually bought a house. Like I'll never forget some of the people I've helped in the past, and only after going through the process do you actually like that makes sense now, right? So um if you wouldn't mind sharing some of the story that we touched on, because I think that it's so powerful. Like, I think it does speak to the impact, not just that you have probably with your clients, but even with the team, right? The agents on the team. So can you go back with me, I guess, to like what, like, why you, like, what's something that I guess a bit more unique to you and how you show up for people that drives you.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, a period of reflection comes every new year. And I think there's nothing quite as fast paced as getting licensed at 21 and just kind of going full force into real estate the way that I did. I was leading a 35-person real estate team at the age of 26 and just kind of grew it from there. And so I've actually had some time, given the new beginnings that I started in 25 and the rest period that we just had, to think about this. And I keep coming back to like this one story. So I was, I think, about to finish fifth grade, and I'm walking home after an after school activity. I get off the bus, and as I come up my driveway, I see my sisters on my porch, and my mom's there, but my sisters are just bawling, crying. And I immediately get super worried. And as I get closer, I can see that my mom is actually shaving their head. So to back it up a little bit, I think there had been like 3 or 4 reports that year. The school got lice. That's super common in public school. Like you got to delouse the kids and put the stuffed animals in garbage bags and like the whole thing. It's painful. But as a parent, that's what you do. And unfortunately, I didn't have the same kind of stability that a lot of people have growing up. And so when I got home this day and I see that my sisters have their heads being shaved, as crazy as that sounds, I went from very angry, very sad for them, to immediately walking up and shaving my own head because they needed somebody that was going to be there in it with them, that was going to hold their hands and walk them through it. And my sister went from, what am I going to do? Everyone's going to make fun of me, to, this is kind of cool. All three of us are going to go through this together. Now, that did mean that I started middle school with a shaved head. So you can only imagine the absolute torment that I went through. But it all kind of adds up to the same thing. Like I intentionally was a leader in my household, whether I knew that that's what I was doing at the time or not. I think at 10, it's hard to say. I just did what felt right at that moment. But also I did the things that were going to help me build a thicker skin early on, like going into middle school with a shaved head as a girl. And it's all kind of added up to where I am today. And so when it comes to why me or who I am, I show up for my agents the exact same way that I showed up for my sisters back then and continued to show up for them throughout their whole lives. It's really about going the extra mile. Now, I haven't shaved my head in a while and I hope that I don't have to. But when an agent on my team has an issue with a buyer or a seller, or they're not sure how to get their pipeline a little bit more full, or they're not sure if they can make it in real estate full time, I'm right there in the trenches with them because that's how I grew up. That's the only way I know how to do it. And I think that that is something that you're not going to find anywhere else. I think a lot of teams and team leads tout, oh, I've got this many agents and we're going to do this much volume and we convert at this level. But do they really talk about how they meet their agents where they are and how they support them individually to be the best agent that that person wants to be in harmony with their work-life balance?
Yeah, wow. I that is you bring up a great point because everybody says culture, right? Like that's like one of those super cheesy overused words that everybody says that they have. And I always like to say culture isn't something you get to say you have, right? Culture, that it's a product, right? Like it's the product of what a group of people are doing, right? Who they are, what they're doing and why they're doing it, and you can see it, right? So it's something that everybody wants to say, like, "Oh my gosh, like we have the best culture." Well, like I spend a lot of time, doing some headhunting as well, and it's like I can't tell you how many people, companies, they always want to say that, like it's some badge that they can just put on the edge of their desk, right? Some plaque, and it's like, nice. You know what that means? You saying it, I like to say there's buckets, right? Like whenever somebody's going through the recruiting process as well, um, people say all the perfect words. And there's a bucket I like to call the like great means nothing. Like literally means nothing. And saying you have culture, right? Like saying all these things, like it's just words, right? Like and you can't like that literally goes in that bucket if somebody's going to think about switching companies, right? Like in you know, completely changing the trajectory of their career, making that transition, right? Like there's always a lot of work that goes into that. That's what I like to say is that, you can't just say it, right? You have to feel it. What like how did I just have a question, I guess, to go back for a second because I'd love to hear you kind of say it, right? Like going through that experience, and I'm sure there's more, right? Like that's just one of those experiences that you shared about your childhood growing up with your sisters having to become really resilient, I think, right? Is what how did that make you feel though? Like if you could share that with me, because I love stories, right? Like how did that make you feel? Maybe not just that example, but other examples where you felt like there weren't other people that were dependable, right? So you had to become resilient. How did that make you feel? If you could kind of go backward in time for a minute and like remember the younger you, like how did that person feel?
I mean, I think as a kid, it feels very scary to be like the only one that you think is dependable in your own household. Like that's very parentifying. And, 10 to 13 years old is a really hard time to get parentified. I think in hindsight, knowing that I was able to show it for myself when I didn't have a role model to show me what that looked like, I go, damn, I'm pretty strong. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty freaking impressive. And I think connecting those dots and bringing that to where I am currently in my life, it's allowed me to build confidence. I think the other thing that happens, though, just being totally honest about that situation, is when you get parentified so young and you become so resilient, a lot of times what you end up doing in adulthood is you don't trust others or you have a really hard time being vulnerable with others and relying on others in your adulthood and in your career and work and all of that. And so then there's another healing process that's happened where you do start to pick up these people in your life, like my husband, for example, or my business partner, or my agents on my team. And these are people that are trustworthy that you can rely on. And so it's like this beautiful full circle thing where you get to choose the people that you rely on instead of just, this is the person that you should be able to trust and sucks to suck that it wasn't going to work out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess this used to be the catchphrase of my podcast, and I don't know if I'm going to keep using it, but I always like to say it, perfect doesn't exist. Okay. It's like, it's the pursuit of better. And I actually just used this analogy um, for somebody in my personal life, right? Like, I feel like I'm not trying to simplify our lives to like a game, right? But
Yeah.
keep me for a second, right? Like, if you can imagine like watching a football game or basketball game or whatever, when we're young, like we're not playing in the game. And then when we do start playing the game of life, right? Like we're usually so young that we're on someone else's team, right? Like it's like our parents' team, right? And we start to learn, right? And we gain experience, right? And then that shapes us, right? Well, fast forward, we're all playing our own game now, right? Like I'm married. I have 3 kids. And, yes, I have my parents, right? Like and my other siblings and all of that, but they're not in my game. Like they're on the sideline, right? Like but those are the choices that we're making. So bringing this what you just said, it's like who are the like in business and personal life, right? Because, if you wrap it all together, right? Failing to plan is planning to fail in our personal professional lives. Um if you're not intentional about who is on the sidelines, like who are your coaches, who are your mentors, right? Who are the players that you're on the field with? Your husband, right? Like your friends, getting into that whole cheesy thing, like you are the 5 closest people in your
Yeah.
life.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
guess what? Like this was really sad because I thought of this and I was talking with one of a close friend about another person, another friend, and I just had to say to myself, unfortunately, I was like, I look at that person, like the game that they're playing, and who they've chosen to play the game with, and who they've chosen, like who's on their sideline, right? Like who are those other, who's in the stands watching, right? Like, and so we're invited to everybody else's game, so to speak, right? But I just said, I was like, that is not a game I'm going to. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not doing that right now, right? Like, we get what we deserve type thing, right? Like, we're making our own choices. So, like, you could apply that to our personal lives, but in business, right? Like, you know, I would imagine you guys have a high standard, right, at the Anu Collective. And again, perfect doesn't exist, trying to always level it up, make it better. But that's a big part of how we become better is who you're surrounding yourself with. Um, I want, like, you mentioned the confidence, I guess, that you got at a young age, right? Like, can you talk a bit more about that? Because I feel like, yes, going through a lot of things young, right, is kind of like there's an advantage there. Um, because you can always share your confidence with people now, right? Like clients, agents on your team. How has that maybe helped you now as you're like playing your own game? Other people, right, are putting you on their team, right, on their sidelines. You're part of those, and that confidence exchange, right, that maybe happens.
I think that there's a difference between being confident, and obviously there's a difference between being confident and having like a big ego at play. And so I don't necessarily think I'm anyone special. And I'm the first person to say that. Like, I don't think I have like a super special skill set. I don't think that I'm like remarkably smart or anything. And I'm not being self deprecating. All that to say that, like, if little old me can do something like sell, let's just say, 6 homes the first year that they're licensed and they weren't getting any leads at 21 years old, where like they had no chance in hell in gift qualifying for a mortgage themselves, then my agents, who are much better equipped, who have much more life experience at the time, who have a sphere, who know people that already own properties, like, there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to be even more successful than I've been in real estate. Especially if they can lean into like the skills, resources, the technology that we offer them and that we train them on our team. Overall, I think confidence is something that you earn out of repeated tasks and repeated success, right? And so if you can continue showing up for yourself, that's going to build confidence in your consistency. Even if your consistency isn't getting you where you want right now, unfortunately, real estate is not an instant gratification business. Unfortunately, fortunately, depends on who you ask. And so getting an agent to kind of lean into that and build their confidence that way is really, really important to getting them to understand how to be successful in real estate. And I don't think that I would have any real concept of that if I didn't go through what I went through or build my career literally by my own bootstraps to get where I am now.
Okay, yeah. What's within the team? I would imagine you guys probably have a pretty structured team, right?
Yeah.
From weekly meetings and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, how have you guys really made an impact in some of these other people's lives as far as like, because you've had experiences. They also, again, you're choosing to surround yourself with those people, right? We become like some of them, sometimes like them as well. So they contribute, right? They're not just taking, they're giving as well. Um, the like, just to ask, maybe this is cheesy, like the team last year, what were the numbers for the team last year?
Last year, my team would have closed like 160 million total volume for the year.
Okay, wow. And so this year, probably a much loftier goal.
This year, much loftier goals. I think we'll easily do well over 200 million. We should be doing about 1,000 deals a year by the end of 25. That'll be our average burn rate. Or 26. Oh my gosh, we've moved on.
And
No, we have
this is the time
way
we all
bigger.
say it wrong. We all start saying 2025 and writing it wrong on the on the piece on the thing that we're filling out. It's like, shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, 26. It's going to be a big year.
what is one of the ways that you and Sean help agents do more production? Because a lot of the times people are trying to add more agents, right? Like there's a corny saying, right? Like production solves all issues, right? Unless it's at any cost. What are some of the ways that you guys are helping agents to do more, right? And sometimes do less, right? It's like you can do more by sometimes doing less, but better, right? What are some of the ways, and again, going to this idea of like, betterment, um, through that exchange of confidence and helping each other grow?
So a couple things that we're really leaning into this go round, this new adventure that we're on. One, we're marrying a leads model with a sphere referral model. And typically in our industry, when you say leads, an agent says one of two things. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with leads. That's how I built my entire career. Or they say, how could you ever do that? Don't invest in Zillow, don't invest in Realtor, whatever, right? Like, two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. I think that the best and most successful agents, especially if they're just getting started or they're trying to build a career in a new area, is to marry the two together. And so that's what our model's built off of. Can you convert a lead and turn that into a referral maker for you? Can you convert a lead and bring them into your sphere and grow a sphere organic around that one person? The team I was previously on, and a lot of leads teams have this issue where you get stuck on this hamster wheel.
Yeah, burn and
You're
churn,
just
maybe.
convert a lead, convert a lead, convert a lead. And when you go back and look at the data for all the repeat business that you lost or all of the friends and family that you didn't get referrals for, you go, holy cow, I could have saved a ton of money on those extra leads if we had just put a little more emphasis on this. And I think agents, people in general, prefer to work with people that they already like, know, and trust. This is just like a fact in the world. So if you can teach an agent how to turn one lead into 6 sphere closings and build out a robust pipeline, a full actual business, they're going to stay. You taught them how to do that. You're giving them consistent tools. You're helping them, give them the resources to continue growing on that sphere business. I think that's the best of both worlds. So we're really leaning into that. In addition to collaboration, one of the things that we have just started this year and that we're going to continue throughout are these tiers and accountability coaching calls. And so that's not just, me getting on a call and harping them on their metrics and are they making enough calls and touch points and all of that, but it's actually people on that same level, same kind of bandwidth as them, similar goal, similar mindset. Hey, this is what's working for me. This is what I'm seeing in my market. This is a tactic that I just learned. Sharing resources like vendors, things like that. Collaboration is going to be crucial to building out the way that Sean and I want to build, and it's already started to work. So we're really excited.
I love that. And I think there's something that makes me think of like at the DNA level, right? Like most of the time, right? Like companies, right? Like whether that's on the real estate or even mortgage or title side, right? Like or whatever, escrow, the companies are good, right? But companies aren't what make us special, right? Like I would say the DNA probably of your team is, that the DNA of change, right? Like the DNA of like who are like this is something that we do, right? Like and maybe it's non-negotiable, right? Yeah, there's a lot of people who are afraid. There's fear around, if they don't have experience doing something, leads, right? Or past client follow-up and engagement. What am I going to say? Like I feel like I'm selling something, right? Like so there's both sides of that, but and they're true for both people, for different people. But yeah, experience is best teacher, right? Like so let's go get more experience. And hey, that's the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate you so much for making the time today. Is there a crazy thing I'm going to start doing just because I think it's funny and I want to know because it's a little bit different? But before I ask my cheesy question, any other thoughts, feedback on, I guess, 2026? Do you guys have a word for the year? That's what comes to mind. Is there like a word or is there like some kind of like, hey, this is what we're going to do?
We haven't. That's like one tactic that we did not go about setting 2026 goals. But if I had to put a word on it right now, it would be growth.
Growth. Okay. All right. I like it. What's your favorite pizza topping?
This is also polarizing. My favorite is pineapple.
Oh no, you're gonna be one of those. That's okay. I think it tastes good, but somebody watching this just rage quit.
I know they just quit. They're
YouTube
never
away.
going to join a new. But just straight pineapple, no ham. Don't put ham on my pizza.
I think it all works, right? It's like if you like mixing things together. I mean, my oldest brother like won't even let the peas touch the mashed potatoes. Like so.
My husband's one of those.
Can't make everybody happy, guys. It's okay. Right? Well, let's find our people and work more with them. So, all right, Sam, thank you so much for making the time today. This was great. Love your story. Love what you guys are building. Love what you're doing. And yeah, I think you guys will do it. I think you'll crush the goal. And I think that you guys have your hearts in the right place with what you're doing and why you're doing it. So
thank you
again for coming on. If you got something from this video, please like, subscribe, share it with somebody else who could use some change in their life, right? And maybe needs to make some better decisions as far as who they're surrounding themselves with, right? Heading into 2026 or beyond. So appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.